Go.
Okay, so yes, we're back. Thank you very much for sticking with us. I know that this is somewhat unusual, but our master streamer, Mr. Biohazard, has had some technical issues on his side. Um, Something we don't want to go into too much, I think. But he lives in America, explosions and stuff. We don't know. He's safe. It's all good. That's all we care about. We're going to continue the show. We are going to continue the matches. We have the best commentators in the business who will keep you entertained for the foreseeable hour at least, and we will give you some good entertainment. And as all these things obviously come all at the same time, Dwygon, who's been quietly working in the background together with James from EOC TV, we've managed to get the website up just in time for you to have a little browse over that. So please, pretty please, take your time and have a bit of a look at the website. So that's www.evetac nt.uk, and we have lots of new features on there, some new things that you will want to browse over, and I'm sure you're going to ask loads of questions about. Please look them over. We're going to throw you a couple of links a little bit later. We've got a few job offers up there as well, so definitely some interesting stuff for you to browse over. And with that, I'm going to hand you back to Mr. Sir Squeebles to talk about what we're doing next.
And with that, I'm going to hand you back to Nash to talk about
Oh,
an upcoming event, because
oh.
I think you're at least mildly more familiar with it than I am. Xmas Trillionaire.
Yes, indeed. So at EVT, we like our community events. We like anything related to out of game, but also in-game events. Trillionaire, which is a relatively new gambling website, is doing a Christmas event, and most of their profits actually go back into the community in terms of NPSI related stuff or new bro kind of projects. And as entertainment, this Christmas period, they will be blowing up 5 carriers and 6,000 frigates. Um, so this is on the 19th of December. The system will be Maya. There is a very cool website of, and I think Dwycon can link you the website in the Twitch chat. I highly recommend you have a little bit of a look. If you intend on coming, just stick your face on the wall. I expect it to be very busy. We'll probably have in excess of 1,000 players at least to pick up at least one, if not loads of the free frigates that are going to be deposited in a pos. There will be 6,000 fully fitted frigates floating in a pos, and you can pick one of those up and shoot at one of the 5 carriers that will be there at the very least. So if you like blowing things up, you like free things, you like events, you like it to be busy, you like tie-dye, make sure you're there.
All right, and I'm going to steal it back from you. Again, thank you to everybody for their patience. Bio, I hope your house is still intact. Uh, if not, you can live with me, buddy. Thanks to both teams who have been exceedingly patient on this as well. They've been sitting here now for 20 minutes, so we really need to get over to them. No matches have been missed, so ever since the stream cut, no matches have been run, guys. This is going to be match 2 in the best of 5 between Warlords of the Deep and Super Social, and we're just truly, truly blessed to have the next set of commentators for the match, Apotny and Suleiman. You guys ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, excellent. So we're going to send you over to our ghetto arena cam, and we'll start the countdown here momentarily, guys. It's your 4.
Okay, so Sully, the Warlords team have brought a setup that, really the Tuskers brought to prominence. The command ship T2 Logi double Tech 3 destroyer with Flavor Frig, in this case being an Ares. Why don't you tell us a bit about how this archetype works, as your team are kind of the masters of it?
Yeah, so this archetype is basically around having a very heavy core, backed up with logistics, Tech 2 logistics, and multiple links running from the command ship. This variant is using the Ares instead of, I think we normally use a bomber. So it has a bit less DPS, but has way more capturability. I think in this matchup, it will be quite interesting to see what the Ares does, and they may have regretted bringing that instead of a bomber, but the match is about to start, I believe.
Yeah, on the Sleeper Social Club team, we've got Double Barghest, Vigil, Bantam. If anybody watched the Tuskers versus PL team games from last week, we had this setup of double missile battleship with Frig support from Tuskers, in fact, and then the Vigil for some pages going. The match has started immediately. The two, looks like, in fact, the Confessors going straight forward. Looks like we've got damage going on the Vigil here.
Yeah, it looks like Sleep Social Club are trying to kite away and are going for the Aneros. This is will show you exactly what they plan on doing. The Ineos is already into armor, under fire on the Bargers. Let's see how well it tanks, because this is the crucial matter. Can the Bargers kill the Ineos before they hit reload on their rapid heavy missiles?
Yeah, those armor links. I'm interested if it has a sync link. Whoa, there's a big amount of rep on the Neros. Can you tell if the Bargas are rapid heavy or cruise?
They're rapid heavy. They're rapid heavy.
Okay, so the Neros just has to survive just long enough for them to go on reload cycle. Then he has a chance to reload his own AAR. But it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, he's probably overheating everything right now. I mean, look at the amount of damage coming into him right now. It's pretty heavy. I'm not sure if he's bait tanking, but he's.
Yeah, I mean, if they can kill the Vigil, their life becomes so much easier. But at this point, they're just not applying any damage at all.
It looks like the Warlords team is actually pulled back. Like they charged in originally. Oh, actually, no, sorry. The Ares is forward. The Confessors are beam fit for Warlords.
That's really interesting.
So it looks like they're using the Ares to tackle things for the Confessors to apply at range. It might not be the best chance. I think Warlords are now charging in.
Yeah. Both of those Confessors are now going straight in. Looks like towards the Bantam or the Vigil.
Yeah, the Ineos is 100k away. I mean, at this point, because of the change to the reps, with them having optimal and fall off, he's actually. Oh, the Vigil was going down very quickly.
Suddenly Vigil, tons of damage from the Confessors, going down almost into structure. Yep, losing its structure tank, and there it goes, bottom of structure, Vigil going down, and it is gone.
Yeah, it looks like the Bargers hit reload, and now they're sort of flailing around, or possibly just trying to get through that reload cycle. With the Vigil gone, like you said before, the application of the Bargers is going to be much weaker. Gets pretty much everything but the damnation, which is not what you want to shoot at. It looks like they're focusing fire on. Warlords are now firing on one of the Bantams, trying to break the Logi frigate pair. And he is not getting any reps whatsoever, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, no, they might be out of range, might have just lost it. They have like one Bantam up here, the other gone.
Yeah,
oh. Man.
The interesting thing is now with these changes to reps being optimal and fall off, before you had to stay within a set range to be able to rep. Now, if you drift further away, you can still rep, but you rep much weaker. That might have been what the other Bantam did. He ran away. So his reps were still running, so he's okay, but he was losing rep ability onto his fellow Bantam. And the other one's in low shields now.
I mean, Warlords here just absolutely picking Sleeper Social Club apart. I mean, same as the last match, just surgically just removing core ships from the Sleeper Social Club team and just keeping an advantage. The Universe was in a bit of trouble at the very beginning, but they held it. It's just some really great piloting here from Warlords, as you'd expect, second Bantam going down now.
Yeah, it looks like at this point, Sleeper Social Club are now trying to shoot Confessor at least with one shot. I'm keeping in mind, with these being rapid heavies, every single volley counts. And it looks like they got split fire, which is not really something you want to have with rapid heavies. They're still trying to go for the Neos, but that Neos is probably dual rep fit, judging by how much he's repping like half his armor per cycle. Like, he's at 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Neos goes down, the Confessors are like the majority of the Warlords DPS, and those will die very, very quickly with Logi off field.
Aniris wrapping back up again. It's pulled as far away from the Barghest as possible. I want to know if they switch targets, but both are tackled down hard by the Damnation, by the Confessors. They're being muted. They're just being absolutely welled upon. We've got the Barghest of Lyculian being burnt down. It's now in a quarter of its shield tank. It's going to go down slowly. It is trying to wrap, but it's got a bunch of newts on it, so it's going to be really tough on cap, even though its weapons don't use cap. I mean, Sleeper Social Club really, again, being dominated by the Warlords team here.
Yeah, the Barghest is now dropping to low shields. I'm not really sure what their best course of action is. I suspect this Ineos was fit specifically to sort of tank rapid heavies as well as possible. But this being a format where you see the other person set up before you get to the matches, you know exactly what you could be facing. The Ineos is AB fit, he's dual rep fit. That's a pretty... With the Vigil off field, I don't think two Barghest are going to break that anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, Damnation, you can get the skirm links on that as well, so it can have a tiny sig, it can going fast. You get those extra resistances.
Well, the Damnation is running triple links, and he's running the info, he's running the ECCM link, the speed link, and the resist link. So it's not super tanky links, but that's still, speed and resist is always very good on an AB.
You can see the new shield effects there on the Barghest. That looks really sexy then.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, I think at this point the Ineos is sort of bait tagging.
Yeah, he's just having a lot of fun. They know they've won the match. A little bit
Yeah.
cocky. That Bargas now instructor. Warlords getting a second win in the series. Obviously not all ships dead left yet, but I think we're at the point where we can in fact call it. That Bargas now
Yeah.
going down, dropping through the last of its structure. I mean, Sully, what do you think that Sleeper Social Code could have done, if anything, to turn this match around? Did they make a good primary choice, or were they just screwed by setups?
I mean, they had two choices really. They had to either go for the Neros and just headshot that, which is what they tried, or they could try to kill the Confessors. It is possible to kill them under Tech 2 reps with the Vigil on the grid. And I don't know, if I was them, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have gone for the Neros. The only other option they could possibly have is if those Bargas had webs, they could try to web the Neros to slow it down so they could apply better, because you saw how low it got. And I think it definitely, I'm pretty sure it wasn't bait tanking with when the Vigil was on the field. Because, you know,
you would.
yeah, you know, when you're losing armor that quickly, you don't tend to bait tank. Because, you know, a couple of seconds of you forgetting to turn on reps could mean that you're dead. So I suspect if the Bargas were maybe a bit more aggressive and ran into the Neros and tried to web it and slow it down, that would probably have been a better shout. You saw Warlords hang back at the beginning of the match, just trying to snipe with the Confessors, see if they could break the Logifrigs or the Vigil just at range with beams. So the Bargas would have had the ability to just close in because they weren't being screened by the Confessors, at least from the get-go.
Yeah, speaking of new effects, we can see on screen here the new ship damage effects on the Barghest. You can see the black and red embers of damage just kind of showing through. It looks so cool.
Yeah, I mean it's quite shiny. It's quite a nice series of effects. You can really tell this Bargs is under a lot of pain right now, and it's trying to drop a Confessor actually.
It's getting it pretty low. Maybe that Nearest is a little too far away to apply a good amount of reps.
I think it's now swapped to the Ares to try to, you know, or not. Never mind, and it's over.
And that's all she wrote. Back to Sir Squeebs.
All right, thanks guys. Great match. That second match going to Too Legit. Very nice run. Again, this is a best of 5 series, so now we've already had 2 matches. We could potentially have the 3 remaining, but it would require Super Social to run the table for those last 3 matches. So, really nice job. I'm gonna hand it to Nash for a little bit of that in between sweet lovin' and possibly some isk.
Yes, I'll do my very best. Okay, I will throw out a little question for you. In fact, I'll throw out 2 questions for you. So I'll do one at a time, just to make up for some of the time lost and make everybody a little bit richer. So we're going to give out some EveBet credit, and we're going to do this by means of questions. Your answers can go in the Twitch chat, in our wonderful ghetto-style Twitch chat. The first question I'm going to throw at you is the following. Who is CCP's lead game master? So, who is CCP's lead game master? First 10 questions will receive 100 million ISK of EveBet credit. So now that the new website is completely live, and we are very happy with this. I know that it's been worked on very hard for the last 6 weeks or so, but specifically in the last 48 hours, the boys have been sweating and getting this stuff up. I just want to point out a couple of the new sections on there, specifically the media section. So on the media section, you're going to find everything community related. We're going to be reporting on good news only. So no Eve news, no specific battles in nullsec, nothing about books or anything like that. It's going to be positive, happy stuff, Eve meets, in-game events, out-of-game events. It's going to be community spotlights. I'm sure you all remember those. CCP did a really good section a little while back called Community Spotlight, and we're going to bring that back on the EVNT media website. But specifically, we are looking for more writers. So we have a small team together already, and we would like to add some casual part-time writers to that crew. So please take a little bit of time and have a look-see on that website, and let me know if you're interested, and we'll work on that. And before I give you back, I'll throw out another bill, I guess. Let me see if we've got another question lined up. We do indeed. Okay. Did we get some good answers there? Jesus, a lot of wrong answers. That's also good. Okay, next question for you then. So for another billionesque of EVBet credit, given out in little chunks of 100 mil, the question will be, what is the only ship in game that has a bonus to ECM burst? So the question again, what is the only ship in game to have a bonus to ECM burst? So throw your correct answer or wrong answer in the Ghetto Twitch chat, and BRJ will pick them up, contact you, and throw you your winnings. With that, we're going to go back to Mr. Sir Squeebles.
Thank you very much. And again, guys, thanks for the patience through all the technical difficulties. I've hopefully fixed a few of the audio issues for you guys with Skype noises in the background, and I have enabled those fancy new effects. We saw several of the new effects up close in that match, but not all of them. So hopefully in this upcoming match, you guys will have the full set of flavors. So let's talk about the match. Obviously, that's the second match in a row that Warlords has taken. They only need one more, and they will have taken the series clean sweep, which will be the first time that's happened in this season of NT Collides. But at least I'm going to throw this one at you. We saw the Bargist. It's been a powerful ship, including in the last Alliance tournament. Kind of a strange ship. All of the Mortis hulls are, but the Bargist in particular. And I think the choice of weapons is really important there. So the commentators did a great job pointing out that those are rapid heavy missile Bargist. What are the three options you can fit to a Bargist, and why do you think rapid heavies were the right or wrong choice in this comp?
All right, so obviously you can fit any type of launcher you want to the Vargas, but rapid heavies, cruise, and torps are probably what you would most commonly see in this setting. I'm not sure why anyone would fit torps; they're kind of wonky. But rapid heavies, they're very similar to rapid lights in that you can just apply a lot of missiles, a lot of damage really quickly, but then you have this really daunting 45-second reload time after that. So it just essentially burst damage in the form of missiles. And because they're rapid heavies, they apply their damage really well to smaller targets, unlike cruise missiles or even torpedoes, which have a hard time hitting the smaller ships that you see so often in these types of tournament settings. So the Bargus is more or less a glass cannon, and it has 2 utility highs now, which obviously the players are playing on the Singularity server, and the changes that are coming on Tuesday are active on the Singularity server. So you get 2 utility highs, a bunch of damage, a pretty good shield buffer, and I don't know, they're just beautiful. And another thing that they have on the test server is the new skin for the Bargist. So I don't know if it's top secret or anything, but you can look at it, and it's like this metallic red paint job, and it's kind of great.
And fun fact about the Bargist, if you were to scale a Bargist to the size of the state of Kansas, it would have more texture, more topographical diversity. And that's your hot phrase for the day. I'm going to pass it over to Suleiman now, who I can think of no better person in this context to talk about logistics frigates, of which there is only a T1 variety right now. And if we have a little more time, we can delve into the upcoming ship editions. Apparently more than the stream's having technical issues. I can't speak today. But your team really enjoys Frigology, if I'm not mistaken. In last episode of NT Collides, you proved that. So why do you guys like them so much? I mean, what is it about those hulls that's so appealing?
So what you end up in this format where you have to have 5 ships on grid and you have to, you have a points limit. Having 2 2-point ships, which do contribute quite a lot to the overall strategy of your comp, is really good value for points, I guess you could say. Normally what you end up doing is you with the Warlords team they just ran, which was a good team by the way. You start off with I want logistics, okay, which is most people sort of do. I want tech 2 logistics because they're great. So you have 13 points gone away there. I want some links to boost the logistics because tech 2 logistics without links isn't that great. So you get a command ship or a battle cruiser. And then at that point you spent most of your points, you've got 3 ships you have to fill in. So you end up running tech 3Ds, which are great. But your support wing becomes so you're only left with a single major a large combat ship, which is your command ship. So if you want to try to screen other ships, it's not always the best comp to run it in if you're running with tech 2 logistics. Whereas tech 2, tech 1 logic frigs, you got to start from the other point of view. You've got to have 5 ships. You use 4 of your points to fill in 2 of those slots. So you've got 41 points for 3 ships. So you can end up with varieties we've seen are like double hack, heavy assault cruisers, and command ship, which is quite popular with the Sleipnir double vagabond or the Astarte double Deimos, which are quite high DPS comps, quite mobile, have quite a few links in them. Tech 2 resist, and by the fact that you're using Tech 2 ships as your core, even though Tech 1 logistics frigates don't rep as much as the Tech 2 logistics, you actually end up tanking roughly the same as you would if you just had Tech 1 frigates or cruisers with a Tech 2 logistics on the grid.
Right. At one point, there were enough numbers in what you were saying. I pulled out my lottery ticket to check and see if I'd won anything. There was an Neros in that match that it was tanking heroically. The reps coming off of that thing were massive. And I don't use that word lightly. Apotny, what's the deal with that? I mean, was that guy more tank than rep, or was there a gimmicky fit? Was it good piloting? Speculate wildly. We can only be right in this setting.
It was a combination of some really spot-on piloting with just some really clever fitting choices. So for those that don't know, missiles will apply damage to you based on your SIG and how fast you are moving. You want a small SIG and a high speed to mitigate missile damage. The Oneirus was afterburner fit, so it still gets some speed up, but it does not have the SIG bloom of a micro warp drive. And it is a cruiser hull in and of itself, so heavy missiles have a lot of difficulty applying to that. That is why we said the Vigil was so important, because the target painter, the bonus target painter, will really boost the SIG up and help apply damage, which is one of the reasons that Warlords tried to kill it as quickly as they did, because with it gone, they were absolutely safe in that Oneirus staying alive.
Yeah, and I mean, really good piloting. It's something that we touch on every episode, is that it seems like you're reducing matches to simple decisions when a lot of people, I mean, a lot of you guys obviously extremely knowledgeable EVE players, a lot of you have tournament experience. So it's sort of easy to talk about these things as if they're the obvious decision, but a lot going on there for an Oneirus, a lot of ways that Oneirus can be fit in tournament settings, both in NT Collides format, or I should say the Collides format in general, and in an Alliance tournament setting. So a lot of times the Logi pilot can be the backbone of your team, and certainly of each comp. So really well piloted by that guy. I think a really nice comp, but also some individual piloting decisions that I think were really well executed. Outside of that, I mean, here we have a great example. We saw in the first match those Vindicators come out. Armor comps, obviously, they use their low slots for tank, which means their mid slots are free for control. And the Vindies have that in spades, or the Vindi in that case, singular. So this is a great example of an armor comp versus a shield comp. Let's say, Suetonia, what do you generally expect? I mean, reduce it to just a couple of key points that differentiate what you should get out of a shield comp, what you should get out of an armor comp. What are their strongest traits?
Well, with shield comps, it's really easy to have a lot of application and damage, because you have all the low slots free for damage mods and for application mods, also like low slot fitting mods or speed. So normally you see like a lot more like shield rush teams like Sleipnirs, because they can be fast, they can have good application and damage all at the same time. With armor, it's a lot easier to have a lot more control mods or like anti-control mods like ECCM, because you have all those mid slots free, have more mid slots for tackle or for damps and things like that.
Gotcha. So generally a little bit more mobility and damage out of shield, a little more control out of armor. And obviously some changes have been made to rule sets across the tourney slate in the form of E-War. But there's also been some restrictions placed on drones, and we haven't really seen any drone boats as of yet. So at least just touch quickly on what's changed about E-War and what's changed about drone rules in both this NT Collides format and even the previous Alliance tournament.
So one of the things they changed for the Alliance tournament format and this one is that if you have something like a damp or a tracking disruptor or anything like that, you can't put a script in it anymore because those are a little bit too powerful. Actually, way too powerful. Like essentially, it would mean that every time you would just always want to take out Molluses, Celestis, or carries because it was just overwhelmingly strong. So
Right.
you can't do that in this format. You can't have Tech 2 drones, only Tech 1 drones, and let's see, you can have ECM drones. Obviously, those still work. A lot of people still favor them. We saw Sleeper Social Club really like those ECM drones. You can have rep drones, but only Tech 1 rep drones, I believe, or can you have Tech 2 rep drones? I think only
You can't
Tech
have
1 rep
Tech
drones.
2, Tech 1 rep drones in this format. I believe the
User
Alliance
in your
tournament
channel
was
timed
Tech
out.
2
Yeah,
restaurants.
Tech 2 for the Alliance Horn, because in the Alliance Horn you have way more people, so you don't really have to worry about the effect of those things.
Right.
And let's see, one other rule that it's kind of important to note, which is why you never see them, is you can't have any remote energy transfers on
Right.
in this format at all, so no Tinkers,
Gotcha.
essentially. Because the Tinker would just be the go-to, hey, I'm going to win this match. It'll take forever, but I'll do it for this format.
Gotcha. Both teams now in system, being moved to the field, so we're not far off. For anybody just tuning in, where have you been for the past hour? You've missed the funny, bad, and good parts.
I mean, maybe some squirrels attack their power lines.
Unless squirrels are now carrying shotguns, I find that very unlikely. I have confirmed that he is alive. However, it will be 6 p.m. our time, which is in 2 hours until he gets his issues resolved. So hopefully he has some Jameson and he can watch this on his phone. So teams are on grid. Right now we're in our third match in our best of 5. Again, this is episode 3 in this season of NT Collides. Today we're lucky to have Warlords of the Deep versus Sleeper Social Club. Warlords is 2 up on the series right now, which means this match could potentially be the last match of the day, and it would be a clean sweep for Warlords. But maybe Sleeper Social going to pull something back. We've talked about sort of the natural checks and balances of the Collides format, which is going into the day you only have 5 comps available. If you win with any of those comps, you can no longer bring it again. Obviously, Warlords, having won both matches thus far, they have 2 of their compositions that they can't bring anymore. So now they only have 3. That somewhat pigeonholes them, and maybe we can see Tuskers play with that to their advantage. I'm seeing some ready up from the team. I just want to run through real quick and get some predictions, and then I'll wait for the call here in the commentators channel to make sure that we're ready to go. Suetonia, who do you think is going to take this? You think Warlords is going to get the clean sweep?
Yeah, I think Warlords are going to take this one.
All right, Suleiman?
I reckon this is a really tough one because Sleeper Social Club walked in at a strange distance, so I'm going to say they might win this. It's a bit of a strange setup.
Insider information. You're skewing the bets right now with only seconds to go. Apotheny, what do you think?
I believe in my friends in Sleeper Social Club.
I hope so as well. By the way, you skipped over me, but I'm really cheering for Sleeper Social. Elise, how about you?
I can say without giving anything out that Sleeper Social Club have the best skins right now, so I'm pretty sure they're going to win.
I have noticed they are looking fantastic, aesthetically anyways. So again, thanks to both teams for being here. Thanks for putting up with the technical issues. They're happy to be able to go to the match. To answer your ping, Nash, yes, and thank you for annoying everybody with TeamSpeak pings.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm pretty sure at this point the expectations have been lowered to a reasonable level, so I think we're good. You know it's bad when we're using my setup to broadcast this tournament. So we're gonna get right into it. Best of luck to both teams, and hopefully we go another match at the very least. Let me pull up my sheet real quick. We have for this match Elise Randolph and Suetonia. So guys, take it away.
Okay, so Warlords have brought in their the set kind of similar to the setup that Super Social Club brought on the first match, which is a typical rush team with a stiletto sub for the hounds. They've got a Sleipnir, a scimitar, 2 sweepers, and a stiletto.
Yes, and my boys in the Sleeper Social Club, they are bringing an ECM team. They've got a Widow, which is a great tournament ship that we almost never see. A Blackbird, a Tengu, which I'm going to assume is an ECM Tengu, but who knows? Could be a Blaster Tengu, could be a Missile Tengu.
It is an
Venture,
ECM Tengu looking
because...
at the ship.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not good at looking at those things. A Venture and a Vexer. And every one of these ships is blinged out with cool skin. You can see the Rada Sunset skin on the Sleeper Social Club or the Kaldari ships. And interestingly enough, the Sleeper Social Club have warped in at 0 to the beacon, so they just wanna party, and they want to party right now.
We're seeing jam effects go on towards the Sleipnir, it seems. Or maybe they're just assigning jammers.
Sleeper Social Club are sending their Battle Venture out first to try and screen off any incoming tackle. That is
It's really
a
interesting
brave,
that they
beautiful
chose a
move.
Venture instead of a Tech 1 exploration figure.
Well, he's making a big wide loop around the outside now, so he just like charged in at them and charged in at the Warlords team, and was like, yeah, I don't want any of this. Warlords have in turn thrown out some shield maintenance bots. Pretty ballsy to throw them out so early, because obviously when they're out they can get shot, and when they're
Venture
shot,
taking damage now.
oh no, the battle venture. So the Sleeper Soldier Club team has no reps at all, so everything's got to be local tank or buffer tank. Will be interesting to see what happens. So every little bit of chip damage that the Warlords team can do counts. Let's see. As we can see, it's just a little bit of.
The ship just got deleted.
Definitely.
Oh,
The
it looks like
Swivel.
the Warlords team has lost this match then because Brainstorm has boundary violated.
Nice. Wow. I
User in
mean,
your
it's a
channel
tough
timed
blow.
out.
Tough blow indeed. And obviously, when you're facing up an ECM team, the thing you do not want to happen is you do not want to lose any ships at all. Because obviously, the more ships you lose, the more jams can be focused on the remaining ships, and the more effective that those jams will be. We can see no one else from the Warlords of the Deep side. Oh, okay, match is over. You're right. Never mind.
Yeah, they're just getting teleported away now.
Yeah, using some CCP wizardry, courtesy of Logi Bro. So we should explain, this is a rule that a lot of people might not be familiar with if you've not gone through the fine print, but in the NT Collides tournament, the current rule set dictates that if any member of your team boundary violates, which goes outside of the 125-kilometer radius of the arena, your team immediately loses the match. The match doesn't continue. It's marked as a loss. So
I knew there was a reason that PL didn't invite me to be on their EVT team.
I think there's more reasons. But honestly, yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna bring it back, but I do want to clarify again. That's not something we see in a lot of other tournaments. It is the rule here. So, congratulations then to Sleeper Social who took that match. With that, I'm gonna throw it back to Nash.
Well, thanks. Wow, that was not expected. I actually choked on my beer just there. Wow. Okay. Well, at least I was gonna say. I mean, if we'd be in full Magic Biohazard streaming mode, this would be absolutely fine. We like the streams to last as long as possible. We got some sexy stuff. We've got some good adverts, and keep you entertained. But yeah, this is one of those episodes where you just wish it was over. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Wow. We're gonna go to another match very very soon. Our producer this evening, Mr. Sutonia, will be pushing the teams to get ready as quickly as possible, and we shall be back with another match very soon. It does, of course, give us an opportunity to give a little bit more ISK away. I just need to find another question. I didn't actually prepare this many questions because we didn't actually expect the stream to go to this many matches. So here we go. All right, are you ready?
User was moved to your
I
channel.
was warned against this one, but with lack of better input, here we go. What is cheese made backwards? Your correct or wrong answers in the Twitch Ghetto stream, please. What is cheese made backwards? It's a low ball. I know.
I don't even know what the answer to that is. Can someone tell me what it is so I can copy and paste the right answers?
It's Edam. Go on. Oh my god. Okay. You get that one for free. Yeah. So okay. Well, excellent. We've had quite a few views on the new website already, which is great. I'm watching the statistics like a hawk, and I like to see quite a few people already having a little sneaky peek. And I've already had 2 pokes for people wanting to join the writing team, which is very good. I'm very excited, and I shall be talking to you very soon. And whilst we're talking about the website, which I'll be talking about a lot over the next couple of weeks, I also want to point out the wonderful section of the Fight Club. So yes, the information is limited, but as Baze explained to you, his brain is still working overtime trying to get the format absolutely right. We just want to make sure that we open this up to as many people as possible and make EVE Esports accessible to as many people as possible. Now, one of the things that you will find on there, on the website, is a little application form. So if you can get a team together and you would like to participate in EVE Esports in a competitive fashion, please take a little bit of time, talk to your friends, make sure you have a look at the website, fill in the application form, and Bay will be getting back to you as soon as possible. And with that, I would love to hear some of the comments from the team. Squeebbles?
Yeah, thanks. So again, the website looking really good. Glad it's up. Please check that out. Hopefully somebody will link that again in the Twitch chat for anybody who has not yet seen it. Very sexy. And thanks to everybody already contacting to volunteer. Really recommend getting involved with this. This has been a whole lot of fun, and I know they're about to take on several more people, both for Fight Club and helping around all over the place. If you look good in a low cut top, that's an added bonus. So obviously we talked about that was a technical loss because Warlords had a boundary violation. I believe it was actually one of the Svipples that went out. If we could get that individual pilot's name so that we can ridicule him in specific, that would be fantastic.
Brainstraw.
There you go. Brainstraw, really dragging the theme down, buddy. And I'm sure they're still there for you, but might want to get it together. Don't want you sleeping on the proverbial space couch after this. So now the score is 2 matches in favor of Warlords of the Deep and 1 match in favor of Sleeper Social. So best of 5 format. At any point, Warlords could win, but if Sleeper Social manages to pull out another win, we could see it go the full 5 matches, which would be really nice. Interestingly, though, and worth discussing, is something we've touched on before. Because that match was won by Sleeper Social, the composition they brought, that Sleipnir composition that we said we liked. Wait, have I gotten them backwards? I think I've gotten them
No,
backwards.
they had the ECM set up with the Widow, the Tengu.
Okay, I
And they're
apologize.
really good skins.
It was a very similar setup from Warlords. I thought I had my wires crossed. This ad hoc stream setup is causing me issues. So how did you feel about their comp then? Because I was going to talk about Warlords, but how did you feel about that comp that came out of Sleeper Social? What was it meant to do, and what did it not have time to prove in that match? Pothny, I'll start with you.
I think it's a really, really risky comp. Obviously, ECM is inherently risky, especially with the multi-specs. Ships that are Tech 2, Tech 3, as is the Rimitar Rush, they have an inherently high sense of strength, so it's even more difficult against them. That said, with the positioning that they came in at, it kind of favored Sleeper Social Club, but I think it's been really, really difficult fight for Sleeper.
Elise, what do you think about an ECM approach? We just touched on the I'll say reduced potency of other EWAR, but ECM untouched because there are no scripts in mid-slide ECM modules. How do you feel about this? I mean, we talk a lot about the fewer people you have to apply ECM to, the better. Does that still hold true here? Was it a wise investment of points?
As Zapoth was saying, it is really, really risky because you're banking on the fact that your jams land, and not only that your jams land, but that you have enough DPS to kill anything on field. And that's a bit of a risky proposition, especially with these Tech 2 hulls and stuff like that. I don't know if I would have. Obviously, it was they had nothing. It was like everything on the line, so they said, you know what, let's roll the dice and let's try it. But I didn't see too much damage coming out of the team. They had the Tengu, which was ECM fit, which is a lot of points to invest in that. They had a Battle Venture, which probably had one slot devoted to it, to having a multi-spec in it, because why not? But you can't have racial jammers in this format. You can only have multi-specs. So that's sort of the nerf, I guess, that you get to ECM. So they're very, very weak jammers, even on that Widow. And who knows? It is very frustrating to fight against. I could say that for sure. I recently had an Alliance Tournament style match where I got jammed the entire fight, and I wanted to flip a table. Unfortunately, my table's too big to flip, so I had to just like bash it really hard a few times and like give it a stern look.
Not sure that's the same thing, but definitely we
I mean,
appreciate the
it's
effort.
close enough. The table
Well,
knew
not
that I was
not sure I'd
displeased.
agree. We're gonna move on to points of vanity. Suetonia, what was the best looking ship in that match that we're allowed to pick from?
You mean the best looking ship normally, or the best looking ship with a skin?
Well, in that match specifically, if you had the opportunity to zoom in and deal with my shoddy camera work, did anything stand out?
Oh, the Widow looks really good. I like the original skin on the Widow though. The Rata Sunset Kitsune looks pretty nice too though.
All right, you heard it here first. Thank you. We are going to set up for the next match here momentarily. Everybody needs a breather. Normally we have breaks programmed in, and I've been sweating like a whore in church since Bio's stream went down. So I need to grab another beer myself. Everybody in the commentary team, I know the teams are not ready yet. We don't want to hold them up any more than they already have been. They've been exceedingly patient. We do appreciate that. But I think we're going to take just a 3 or 4 minute break. I'll put on some soothing CCP tunes. And then we'll be back after that. Any last minute notes for anybody else? And again, that was match 3, so we're about to go into match 4. Nash, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm very happy. Like I said, yeah, keep people plugging into the website, man. Everybody's is having a good time there, I think. So, any feedback, anything you want to say, you can either tweet me at Nash_Cadaver, or you can PM me. I am pretty sure that I follow you back. So, yeah, keep comments coming. Have a little bit of a look around. There's some galleries on there as well from previous event meets. There's a couple of articles up, but obviously with the help of some more writers, we will get more drama-free, happy Eve-related stuff on there. So yeah, website. Did I mention the website?
No. Tell me more.
Ah, excellent. So we've got a new website. I highly recommend you go and have a look. It's www.evetaknt.uk. Make sure you go and check it out.
Thank you.
Something quickly.
Go ahead.
I think I figured out why Hydra ran, or Warlords ran to the boundary. I don't think they had any ECCM at all in their entire comp. So I think they tried to outrange the jammers of Sleeper Social Club, and so that's why they moved away, particularly from the Widow, who doesn't have an ECM optimal range bonus.
Gotcha.
And they got forced back, and the Slepnin was arty-fit, it wasn't AC, so he wanted to stay even further back as possible. The Scimitar had no ECCM at all, so I think the entire team just tried to run back. The Tengu, I think, was an ECM ham Tengu, so it was running forward, and basically just started running back, and one of them ended up hitting the boundary, because they were all quite far from the center of the arena, actually.
It might also just be they were so scared of that battle venture that they just had to stay as far away from it as possible.
I peed a little bit when I zoomed in on that skinned blackbird as well, so a lot to be intimidated by. Good points though. Not something we discussed, and I apologize for not getting to you to talk about that. But again, I would prefer not to pee my pants during the broadcast. So 4 minutes, and we'll be back. For you on TeamSpeak, I'll obviously be completely muted, and I'll give you a heads up in TeamSpeak when we're about ready to go. I will see you in a few.
Sound microphone muted. Sound
But
microphone
anyway, that's a
activated.
conversation for another day.
That's because I'm making you spacious.
Alrighty, we are back live on stream. So I cut in just at the moment where he said it's a conversation for another day. Oh God. All right, so welcome back. Again, this is this episode of Warlords of the Deep versus Sleeper Social Club. Episode 3 of this season of NT Collides. So I'm Sir Squeebles, the whole cast and crew is still here. Again, we've had some technical difficulties. That's why you're seeing the stream sort of roughly taped together with some things that we found lying around. So thank you for your patience. I see teams are being moved into systems. We're not too far off of match 4. I don't know. I'm going to open the floor. I guess, at least, what would you like to see of the remaining setups? Is there anything that hasn't been fielded on either side that you think would be really fun to see in the potentially final match?
I kind of want the Sleeper Social Club to go back to what they started with in the beginning, because I thought that setup, and Suetonio actually said it was their strongest setup. It was the double Svipple, Scimitar, Hounds, and Sleipnir setup, the classic Mimitar Rush. I really like that setup from them. It's fun to fly, first thing. You can't run up against a control team, anything like that again, or at least not as severe as a control team that they ran up against. So if you're gonna go out guns blazing and just do face melting DPS. That's always a pretty good tactic in EVE Online. Just run at dudes until they're dead, or until you're dead. One of the two is bound to happen.
I feel like your mileage may vary. It never pans out for me. With that, same question to you, Apotny. Is there anything that you either expect to see from one side or the other, or something that we haven't seen yet that you would like to see?
I think that it's just gonna be a massive dive bomb. Like Lee said, they're just gonna smash into each other full force, and it's gonna be really fun to watch.
Suetonia, same to you. I mean, Elise did reference the fact that you really enjoyed that mini rush setup that we saw earlier out of Sleeper Social. It did not work out for them. Do you think we'll see it again?
We could see it again. I still think it's probably one of their strongest setups, so I think there's a good chance that they may bring it.
Gotcha. Obviously, we have the ability to cheat. Teams are on field. I'm going to wait in the commentator channel to get the green light here, but we're not far off, guys, for match 4 in a best-of-5 series. Right now, Warlords is up 2 matches in the series to only 1 by Sleeper Social, which was the previous match, 1 on a boundary violation. Gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say Brainstraw probably not gonna get too close to the arena edge on this match. Did you train any part of this Warlords team by chance, Elise?
I mean, I probably taught him everything he knows for that one match.
Right.
He just like channeled his inner Randolph, and
his inner Randolph. Fantastic.
I mean, it's an easy mistake to make, right? Like, I don't think he actually made a mistake. I think that was intentional, but whatever. But it is an easy mistake to make because it's not something you generally do on Tranquility. You don't really think of, oh, if I go a little bit too far, my ship's going to explode instantly.
Right.
So you just are like, oh, I'm going to make a lap around the arena, get some distance, get some clarity going on, see the lay of the land, and then boom, you're gone.
Gotcha. I do have the word that we're good to go. So let me pull up amongst my 80 bajillion tabs here to see where we are. That's match 5. That's not right at all. How's everyone doing while I look for this? All right, Suetonia and Apotny. Am I correct in thinking you guys are commentating this next match?
I mean, you're half right.
We should be on Elise and Apoth for the next one.
Ah, excellent. So the old PL double team, classic.
Oh yes.
All right, and with that, guys, we are excited to go right into match 4 in this series best of 5. Best of luck to both teams. I'm over on the arena now. We'll start the countdown shortly, guys. Your match.
Hey,
all right,
buddy.
welcome. I am Elise Randolph, joined by Apotny for this event match 4. Let's see, we've got Warlords of the Deep. I'll go ahead and introduce them so you can introduce your boys in the Sleeper Social Club. Warlords of the Deep, reading my mind, they took almost exactly what Sleeper Social Club took in the first round with a double Svipple Sleipnir Scimitar team. They're opting for a stiletto this time. Apoth, tell us about the Sleeper Social Club team as the match begins.
Sleeper Social Hub bringing back the double Barghest Vigil Bantam comp. It'll be a question of whether the Barghests can burn through something important quickly, or whether they just get picked apart. We have the match starting, and immediately
we've got some
the
hot
Swipple's going
action.
down to the Logifrigs.
Yeah, this is some hot action definitely going on. The Warlords of the Deep team are just rushing as fast as they can at this Sleeper Social Club team. You just see this string of blue going directly towards these Barghests. And the warp in was a perfect 180 degrees, so they had 100 kilometers to travel. And zip, zoom, boom, it's almost right
Brainstorm
next to each
did
other.
get just close enough to get a heavy mute cycle from the Barghest, which was really made his life quite difficult. He's now having to run away because he's down into half shields. Ooh, going down low, and now no damage yet on the Sleeper Social Club team, though.
All right, so as you were talking about these before, these Barghests are going to try and apply their damage. They've got a lot of burst damage and then a lot of nothingness because they're using the rapid heavies, and they're going to have to do a reload cycle. So it looks like this time, Sleeper Soldier Club are opting not to go for logistics, but to go for a Swipple to see if they can just break it.
Yeah, it looks like the Vigil has been tackled by the Swipple of Brainstorm, bringing it back for the team, and it's going to go down so quickly once it's tackled.
No,
there it goes down
disaster!
structural, and there it's gone.
That Vigil is so important to the damage application for these Barghests, but the Barghests not breaking a sweat here. They said, you know what, we can't break this Swipple, let's go for the Scimitar. And they're making the Scimitar use its ASB charges right now.
Without the Vigil, though, it may just be way too little too late. One of the Bantams now, we've got Shiguna Blow taking a ton of damage here. I'd be so interested to see how much more damage that Simi will be taking if the Vigil was still on field. But no, there goes the first Bantam, which means that the second Bantam will go down shortly if they don't just go straight for the Barghest, and it is catastrophic meltdown for Sleeper Social Club here.
All right, so maybe Sleeper Social Club can bait out another boundary violation, but if that was standing, this is essentially a mirror match of what happened to the last time in round 2 when they took the Barghests. Obviously they were facing an armor version of the team that Warlords of the Deep are fielding right now, but the same idea with the Swipples attacking these support wing and just demolishing it straight off.
Oh, it's so sad to see after such a series, just kind of being decided so quickly, so early. But, I mean, you really have to give it to the Warlords team. They are such exceptional pilots at tournaments. They are a really crazy strong team, and they are just a bit too much for Sleeper Social Club to handle, who we've seen perform pretty well in tournaments. By no means are Sleeper Social Club a bad team. It's just that I think they were just a bit outclassed here.
Yeah, probably. It's kind of interesting that we will end on this note where Sleeper Social Club will be losing to the team that they fielded in the very first match, and it's kind of the Warlords of the Deep are kind of showing them how to fly this really fun setup in this Scimitar Rush in this format. As we saw, they just zipped right across the arena, spared no expense, spared no time, and just went straight for the jugular. Looks like all right. Barghests got their reload off. They got a Swipple down while Planet 6's Scimitar was out of range a little bit to getting the reps off, so a little bit of ego won back. Brainstraw Swipple is taking damage, but I don't think he's gonna go down. Planet 6's Scimitar is keeping him alive pretty well, and Ehud Guerra's Barghest is it doesn't want to be in structure, which is where it is right now.
Yeah, in terms of tanking goes, very few ships like being instructor. I mean, CCP Fozzie will tell anyone that will still listen that the Vigilant should be hull tanked. It is the only correct way to fit Vigilant, but for Barghests, not so much.
Yeah, not so much as it's holding on. There it goes, exploding. Goodbye, little pancake. Such a beautiful little ship. See some GFs and locals, so Sleeper Social Club kind of accepting their fates right now. But exciting match at least for the
cool
if you were
series
on the Warlords of the DT,
as well. Nonetheless, it was really interesting to see how the meta has developed from match to match. At the first match series, which was HK versus who was it against? I can't remember. That's
Shadow
pretty
Cartel.
bad. Shadow Cartel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And then we had PL versus Tuskers, where PL won a match. I think it's safe to say we did win a game in that series. And then we've had this match as well. We've seen these missile battleships. We've seen the Scimitar Rush. We've seen jams tried. We've seen a couple drone boats out. I mean, how do you think the meta's shaping up? Do you find it as interesting, more interesting, less interesting than the Alliance tournament?
Well, it's such a small sample size, so it's really hard to say. But I think it's a very interesting meta. It's very different from the Alliance tournament. the things that were very, very successful in the Alliance tournament aren't necessarily as successful in this format, just because of the virtue of the few changes that are being made, and just the fewer pilots that you can bring. The one nice thing about this format, or one of the many nice things about this format, is that things die. Like there's no going the extra time. There's no tinkers. There's no drones flying all over the place. There's no E-Ward really to worry about. It's just a lot of dudes meeting in the center of the arena and blowing up each other's ships. And at the end of the day, that's what you want to see in a competitive scene.
Yeah, man. I
So-
mean, the setup as well. You don't just see the same setup fielded every time. Like you don't see Typhoon Fleet issues or Tengu Tinker every single match, because you've got to come up with 7 setups of completely different hulls, 2 of which will be banned. So you need some depth in those setups as well, which I really like about the Collides format.
Yeah, the neat thing about when you're watching, it's kind of like when you're watching the last day of the Alliance tournament, where you see all these new setups, all their secrets thrown out on the last day. For these teams right now, this is the last day. It's the first day, it's the last day, it's the finals, it's everything for them. So they have to come up with inventive setups, and you know what, just use them really well.
Yeah, as the final Sleeper Social Club ship goes down through the last of its structure tank, we will be ending today's match. We will, of course, be going back to the studio after it goes down. Oh, it's wrapping a bit again. I was going to sign off, and there it goes. And back to Squeebles in the studio.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be fairly brief. I want to make sure Nash has a few minutes here, and then we're going to break that match down. So Warlords of the Deep winning their 3rd match of the series. Only one match won by Sleeper Social. Really, really nice job by both teams, and I'm sure Nash is going to echo this, so I'll be brief. But huge thank you to both teams for their patience and sticking with this. We really appreciate it. And with that, Nash.
Thank you, sir. Absolutely. I just take this opportunity to thank both teams indeed. Sleeper Social Club's done a great job, very competitive, and been great throughout and the months leading up to this actual match. They are indeed not going to go home empty-handed. Obviously, the benefit of actually being picked to participate in this tournament is walking away with something at the very least, and they'll be walking away with 10 of the unique skins that we've been provided by CCP. We have a little bit of a sneaky peek on the website, just in case I didn't mention the website just yet, on the media site, where you will find a little bit more information on these unique skins. And as soon as we have pictures and actual graphic video proof of said new skins, we will be posting them there as soon as we have it. Before I sign off and thank everybody in the team and our sponsors, I will let the team here analyze the match.
Thank you very much. So it was definitely an interesting role reversal. Elise, I just want you to talk on that. I think it was you that mentioned the evolution of the meta, or I can't tell you two apart. All you PL people sound the same to me. Talk about the difference it makes to see Team A fly the same setup as Team B and get different results. Was it all about what they were flying against, or is it really about just the technical skill of the pilots involved?
I think in this instance, in this particular instance, it was a virtue of the matchup that they got. The first time when Sleeper Social Club took their rush team, they took it up against a really disgustingly nasty strong control team, and control teams are the actual archetypal counter to the rush teams. So that was a little bit of bad luck. I'm not sure there is. If they fly that same match 10 times, they probably only win 2 of the 10 times. But it was really heartwarming to see the one of the fan favorite archetypes of the Minmatar Rush in the final match here. As Suetonia mentioned, it's something that we saw in Alliance Tournament 7 for the first time, and it won the finals of Alliance Tournament 8. And it's just this beautiful team where it looks so easy and it just applies so much damage. You just hit approach, micro overdrive on, hit all your buttons, and just see what happens.
Just a heads up, we are getting both teams. We're getting a member from each team. I'm not sure if it's the captains or not, but they are going to be in a minute, so that we can chat to them, ask a few questions.
User was moved to your channel.
Guys from the teams, thanks for being on. Give us just a minute, and then I'll bring it right to you. Suetonia, you made, I saw you not caps locking, but you might as well have been typing about, or I'm sorry, Suleiman, typing about positioning in that match. Do you want to touch on that real quick? What you saw?
Yeah, so a bit of a weird one actually. The Sleep Social Club Almost Boundary, they got a visual 122 kilometers from the center of the arena, so that's 3 kilometers off off the boundary. But then, not to be outdone, Warlords then got 124 kilometers from the center of the arena with one of their sweepers for like a brief second. So it was a very tight position game where Sleep Social Club ran away, whereas Warlords chased him. I think one of the sweepers, the one who was boundaried, overshot the vigil he was chasing. So it was a very, very close match in terms of how close they got to the boundary.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I was trying to put my cursor over a couple of those brackets and show their range, but obviously a whole lot going on in those matches. Apotny, what did you think was the turning point of that match? Was it a consistent win for Warlords, or was there a definite breaking point?
I think Warlords were pretty consistent. They looked pretty in control in pretty much every match, apart from Brainstorm having a little Randolph moment there. I mean, as I said in the match, like Sleeper Social Club are by no means a bad team. They are strong guys to fight, and they would beat a lot of teams out there. But Warlords, previously Hydra Reloaded, are one of the biggest names in EVE tournament history, and there's a reason for that.
And Suetonia, I mean, what do you think about the comps we saw today? Are they things we've seen in previous episodes of NT Collides, and do you think we're going to see similar sort of metas and comps moving forward, or do you think a lot of these were unique?
I think they're very similar. I think the Warlords have they actually have a lot of interceptors subbed in for their 3-point ships, which a lot of other teams have used either like an E-War frigate or a bomber instead. So I think the Warlords team tends to lean more towards control and screening. Other teams lead more towards control, as in damps or ECM, and some other teams lean more towards the damage with bombers.
Gotcha.
But they're still like kind of in the same archetype.
Right. We definitely saw some similarities, I know, between this episode and comps we've seen in previous episodes. Definitely with little tweaks. So it's nice to see. I'm sure Suleiman was excited to see those Bantams make an appearance, because Logi Frigs are totally their bag, baby. We are now lucky enough to have a member from each of the teams. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself first, and then we'll get right into just quizzing you over everything aesthetic and meaningful. So we'll start with Team Warlords.
Yeah, hi. I'm Leo Kokem from Team World of the Deep.
And I'm Ehud Guerra from Team Sleeper Social Club.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for participating. First question is kind of a gimme. Get your vocal cords warmed up here. And we'll start with Sleeper Social this time. How was your experience competing in NT Collides and competing in a Collides format?
Absolutely. I loved this. This is actually my first tournament experience. And so it was really good. It was good for our pilots. We were able to learn a lot of things and practice a lot of techniques that usually in wormholes you don't get as often, as a lot of the fights are big T3 brawls. So this really stretched our pilots, and it was a really, really good experience for us overall.
And Leo, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably not your first time in a tournament setting.
It is not, actually, but it is my first time basically as a team captain. Before I could rely on other people to do things like theory crafting for me, but due to circumstances, I have no longer the chance to do that. But I really like the format. I already enjoyed it when training for Worlds Collide. So I think it was really enjoyable.
Awesome, and we are excited that, again, we talked a little bit about Fight Club, but you guys, obviously, teams with really nice pedigree and some pilots who've been involved in tournaments previously, so an invitation was extended to you all. However, for those teams that are newer to it, we do have the NT Fight Club. You can find more about that on the brand new sexy NT Collides website, which somebody will link in the stream chat. So, guys, if you want to participate like these guys do, you do have that opportunity, even if you don't have a tournament history. So feel free to check that out on the website. There's a lot to ask about here, and by all means, I want to pass it to a couple of the commentators here in a minute to throw their own questions at these guys. But Leo, I want to start with you, and I want to ask, in this format, you submit 7 comps ahead of time, and 2 of those comps are banned. So coming into today, you only had 5 compositions that you could bring. all of which have to be unique. And you can again, for anybody not familiar with the rule set, check that out on the NT Collides website. But do you feel like there's any way to have all 5 of those comps you bring on a given day be equally strong, or do you think that you're going to end up with some comps that are naturally stronger than others?
I mean, there are multiple tactics you can go at this. I mean, you can obviously try to make all comps as strong as they probably can be, but if you think about it, in the end, you only need 3 comps because you can use those 3 comps over and over until you won 3 times in a row, or like 3 times in total. So there are options where you could, for example, like use bait setups that look strong on paper but aren't actually strong, and stuff like that. We actually didn't do this. I think we actually went for the make the best comps you can think of. But as I said, yeah, there are multiple approaches to this.
Gotcha. Obviously, there's a lot of hot words around tournaments. I'm so glad that the stream chat didn't light on fire when the word tinker got mentioned earlier. Not something that's available in this tournament due to the rule set. So we're not going to delve too far into that. But especially Ehud, I found it really interesting that you've not had any tournament experience and you're here. I think it's fantastic, and I think definitely the Collides format lends itself to that. But hearing Leo talk about their planning and the forethought and bank on 3 comps, but they've invested in all the others to try and make them as potent as they possibly can. How did your all's work? I mean, just give us a brief overview of when your team meets up and you recruit these guys to come and compete in NT Collides with you. Does one guy jump in the driver's seat and everyone else gets in the back of the van, or is it collaborative? What does it sound like to be on the Sleeper Social team?
Yeah, this was absolutely a collaborative effort. We actually started with a team captain who left us midway through our preparation, which was a bit rough, but we had a lot of guys to step up to the game. And so I stepped up, a couple other guys, shout out to Farron, Shalmi, and like Julian. Like has experience in tournaments with goons in the past, and so they were a real big help. We didn't have any one leader. We had a lot of collaboration on our forums about what our setups would be. We had submitted setups from different guys on the team, trying to get as many people into practices as well. So we'd often see 10 to 15 or more guys in all of our practices.
That's really, really cool. Definitely sounds like a positive experience. I want to throw it to a commentator. Feel free to volunteer questions and interrupt me if you have anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick on people and throw a question at them maybe that you've been asked for those of you that have some tournament experience. So, Apotny, I'd like to start with you. And if you could, Apotny, just quickly restate, like 30 seconds or less, Fight Club and what that's going to be so that anybody that just caught the tail end knows what's going on with that.
Fight Club is going to be the new younger league of Collides, where we have it far more open to younger teams with less tournament experience. You don't have to fight against these crazy top tier teams. I'm going to be the primary host, and we're looking for new casters. If you want to be a caster, you should email me on Tranquility with why you want to cast, why you think you'd be good at it, any previous experience, and the deadline is 13th of December at 23:59. How's that?
Beautiful. All right, and throw a question at one of these guys.
For both of you, I guess, we're currently on the 3rd match of the tournament. In your theory crafting, to what extent did you value watching the previous 2 matches? Because I would assume that you take it as just a really useful source of data for testing that you haven't done yet, seeing what other teams are thinking of, seeing what they're doing. Were there any teams that previous groups had put in that influenced you a lot, or did you just kind of go with your own thing and stick with it?
Talking specifically about going into the 3rd match?
I think you meant the previous 2 episodes, of NT Collides.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Match, yeah. We definitely took a lot into consideration as far as SSC is concerned. We definitely saw the double battleship comp coming in strong, which is something that SSC has done in the past with other setups, and they did come in strong. We found it unfortunate that we weren't able to do better with our Vargas today, as that was something we definitely picked up from the last match.
Yes, for us as well. We basically saw the Tuskers versus PL match as a confirmation of our theory crafting, with like them bringing dual battleship comps and command ship logic comps. But we were also surprised to see that they didn't bring any other comps, which we had figured out to be strong. So we were on a pretty good mood after that.
I have another question. Then, Suetoni, I'm going to throw it to you. So prepare like a real bombshell for the follow up here.
I don't have rain chocolate ready, so.
You've got time. Reach out. Make it uncomfortable. So a lot of tournaments require a huge amount of practice, which is again why it's kind of fascinating to see tournaments shrunk down, if you will, to 5-man teams. It seems like it would be a little bit easier, but I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case. More approachable probably, but definitely I don't think anybody's put in quite the time to these 5-man tournaments that they have to the 12-man tournaments. So Leo, I'm going to start with you and then go to Ehud. How do you practice? I mean, do you practice? Do you just take it on faith that everyone knows how to fly these comps right out of the box? And if you do practice, what's the balance of try-harding, if you will, versus sort of a casual, hey guys, let's meet up and test this out?
Like we for sure did it way more relaxed than for AT. We practiced less, but we also practiced shorter. But I think we still got some good tests in. When we like collected 10 people, we sometimes had problems doing that. Actually, we had to call some practices off because we couldn't get enough people. But with like calling friends and stuff, we often got enough. And then we basically tried to figure out which comps are strong and which comps aren't. And after the setups were announced, we of course tried to find out which SSC comps are strong and which aren't, and prepare us for the bans.
All right, and Ehud, what about you guys? What did Sleeper Social do in terms of practice?
Yeah, we definitely, knowing the deck was stacked against us a bit and facing Warlords, which was a bit intimidating, we practiced a lot, and I think we really showed a lot of improvement from our early practices. I would say, practicing about 3 or 4 days a week consistently with enough guys to run scrimmages against each other in both US and Euro time zones. So.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like quite a lot of involvement then. That's really impressive. That's awesome. All right, Suetonia, you've had the time. Go ahead. Tell us the question and end all questions.
Okay, so Leo, you have a lot of interceptors in a lot of your comps. I think you actually had 4 interceptors in them. Why do you value interceptors over other 3-point options like E-War frigates or like the Hounds that other teams have brought?
Okay, so we don't think like Evo freaks obviously have a rough time in this format because lots of Evo is getting nerfed by the rules like TDs, damps, and ECM. That's why we went for the Scepters because if you find a team which doesn't have much protection, if you have more tackle than the enemy, you can have one of your ships free roam and kill stuff which it shouldn't be able to. And because bombers in like the number of 1 can't really do much against enemy logi, it's you can often like just ignore it and tank through it and use your receptor to tackle stuff and give you advantage on the battlefield.
And then Suleiman, how about a question for either team, preferably Sleeper Social. Keep it fair.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So my question is, so you don't submit fits for this tournament. You just gotta make sure they're legal in accordance with the rules. Do you guys have separate versions of the same comp fit up? So for example, do you have like a that I know the Damnations, for example, the Bargus? Did you have like a cruise or specifically for Super Social? Did you have like a cruise Bargus comp stage as well as a rapid heavy missile Bargus staged or?
We tested both Rapid Heavy and Cruise and just found that the Rapid Heavies were performing better under most circumstances. I think Warlords setups were, I don't want this to sound offensive at all, but they're easy to telegraph because they're all amazingly good. And so it was easy to tell, what they're going to do with the ships there. You have 2 Crewers and a Vindy. The Crewers are going to web stuff down. The Vindy's going to get in range and dunk it, And that's basically, it was easy to see what they were going to do, especially once we banned out the double battleship comps. And that was something that was huge for us, as our ECM setups would have really suffered under double battleships with ECCM. And so we were really quite bummed, actually, that the 3rd round didn't go to an all-out fight, because I think we had it on lock. So that was a big bummer for us to not be able to finish that match with the boundary violation there.
I just want to point out that you apologized in essence for calling all of their comps really good. So that's sportsmanship to a whole new level. Obviously, both teams did fantastic. Please pass on our regards to all of you guys. Thanks so much for participating. Really nice set of matches, and we do apologize again for the delay. You guys have been heroes dealing with that. Any other last minute questions before I throw it to Nash? All right, sounds like it. Sorry.
I was going to be cheeky and ask another one. This is update to Warlords, but so both could answer. How did you pick or decide on which comps of the enemy team to ban? Was there like, did you know?
I'd like to hear this.
I mean, yeah, for both sides, because I think it's always quite interesting in this sort of format where you know what the enemy could bring at you, and to decide, oh, that one's the scariest, or.
Like, do you mean what to ban or what to bring in?
What to ban? What to ban?
What to ban? Well, as I said, in an ideal case, you would test all matchups and choose the one where the enemy wins the most. But of course, you can't do this because you have limited time. So, what basically I did was I got with my guys. We didn't have much time to practice, so we went through all the matchups like theoretically and thought what would probably happen, and looked at what comp gives us the most problems, and then decided to ban that one, basically. Of course, using strong ships also plays a role in this. For example, Armor Logi is pretty strong in this format here, the Tech 2 ones. So, for example, banning the Guardian comp had a much higher chance from the start. And of course, you can also choose to ban setups you're not experienced with. Like, we probably didn't test light missile spam as much as we could have. So we actually decided to ban it to not have to worry about it. Yeah, so there are multiple approaches which we did.
Yeah, for us, we definitely tested a lot, but there were things that we weren't too worried about because of the setups that we had. So I think one thing to remember is it's a lot of teams I think are bringing a variety of two of a kind setups where they have two command ship T3D, T2 Logi setups, two double battleship setups, those types of things, so that you can kind of hedge your bets a little bit. That was kind of how we looked at it.
All right.
Okay, I was just wondering if you thought about what the enemy would ban of your comps, and then you banned what would be good against the remaining comps you think you would have left.
Yes, we definitely did that.
The meta game, essentially.
Yeah, and there's a degree where it's like if you bring something that's wrong and they bring something that's right, it's just rough. That first round was a great example. That Vindy setup just wrecks our Minmatar rush, and we knew it coming in. So there's a little bit of rock, paper, scissors, but I think more than people credit, piloting is also super huge.
To be fair, we actually didn't expect one to Minmatar rush in the first matchup. So we didn't actually choose the ridiculous setup for that purpose, but it still worked out, so I was happy.
All right. Okay, great. I didn't interrupt anybody this time. I'm just in a huge hurry to hear Nash's voice. It lulls me to sleep. So with that, I'm cutting you off now. But again, thanks to you guys for coming on. Great questions from the commentators. And now, back to you, Nash.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Again, big thanks and much love for everybody that's participated tonight. I'm just going to go through some of the boring stuff, which is big thanks to our sponsors, Plantronics, Colormaster, that have been very helpful in keeping this going and adding stuff to our charity pot at EVT, which is going to be again in February, which you will find a little bit more information on the new website, which I may have mentioned earlier. I want to thank everyone on the team here tonight. I want to thank specifically Dwycon, who I know has worked really hard, even doing the Twitch moderating and finishing off the last bits on the website before posting it live, literally as we started tonight. I want to thank our guest commentator tonight, Suleiman from the Tuskers, who you will be seeing again a little bit later this season. I want to thank Elise Randolph, Suetonia, Apotny for doing some wonderful commentating. Again, Suetonia obviously for keeping in touch with the teams and dealing with Mr. Logibro himself, who has been quietly been passed by tonight. But indeed, without CCP Logibro's help, none of this would have been possible. So thank him very much. Our ever amazing Mr. Sir Squeebles, who's been your wonderful host this evening, and Biohazard, who's actually just managed to squeeze back on comms after a very painful outage. Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened?
In the middle of hearing you guys talking, I heard a loud explosion, shook the house, and everything went out. Everything went down. Wasn't even a flicker, just straight up everything died. And looked around, couldn't find out what was wrong. Power company ended up showing up. The transformer right outside my house blew.
Oh,
So they had to repair that, and then once they repaired that, I hop back on. Obviously, like I said, right at the end of everything.
Having seen his stream setup, he is 100% responsible for blowing that transformer. Like, there's literally no way. There's an entire city block somewhere that loses power every time this stream goes live.
User disconnected from your channel.
It just shows you. I mean, we went ghetto style, and it's been amazingly safe tonight. Like, I think we all sank
User was
into a
moved to
brief
your
moment of
channel.
depression when you abruptly left us. But so Scribbles, thank you so much for saving it. I know it's ghetto style and it's Minmatar duct tape together, but we managed to get through it, and team stuck with it, and with a few delays, we managed to get through the episode. So appreciate everybody's super hard work on that. Which I guess puts me to the last couple of bits. I want to remind everybody that indeed the next episode will be on the 10th of January. So 10th of January, we're going to be seeing the last two teams participating in this season of Collides, which is Afterlife versus Try, which I'm very much looking forward to. Should be a really good matchup. And the very next episode, just after that, before we go into the remaining 4 matches of Collides, we will be indeed viewing the first episode, and we're looking at about the 24th of January. So the actual date will be confirmed a little bit later this month, hopefully. But we will be doing the first episode of Fight Club as well. So make sure that you check out the website that I may have mentioned earlier, and sign up. Call your friends and say, look, this is EVE Esports. This is actually cool. If you don't log in often enough to actually, go and pew stuff, this is definitely the kind of thing that you want to be a part of. You only need a couple of people, and we are looking for as many teams as we possibly can. Check it out on the website. Fill in the application form. BRJ will get to you as soon as he can. And we will be launching 4 episodes alongside the Collide series to bring you more EVE Sports, which will be indeed hosted by the wonderful Mr. Epiphany. And with that, and having thrown all my thanks out to everybody, I hope you all stay on the interwebs a little bit longer. Mr. Sir Scribbles is doing his own little stream again a little bit later, and it looks like Scribbles is no longer streaming, but I'll keep talking just in case he is.
No, I'm not. I apologize.
Oh, piss.
Yeah. I've replaced it all with NT Collide stuff, so unless you want me repping the brand late into the night.
No, that's good. I was going to say I've got 1 billion ISK left in codes.
Oh!
You can give out a little bit later. But yeah. Cool. Fucking hell, I'm glad this one is over, man.
Good night.
Okay.
All right, with that, I'm going to... I'm sorry, did somebody have a last-minute comment?
No.
Okay, thanks for being very concise. All right, guys, I'm going to outro with some sweet dulcet CCP tunes. Keep in mind, if you want to know when this stream goes live without somebody calling you at your house and telling you to watch it, you can follow the channel on Twitch. Will the Fight Club be broadcast to the same channel, Nash?
Yes. It will be, yes, indeed.
Okay, excellent. So, guys, if you want to stay up to date with when the stream goes live, you follow here. And NT Collides is pasted everywhere, so check Twitter and so on and so forth, and continue showing up. We love having you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we bid you adieu.
Bye, guys.
Sound microphone muted. Wake up.